The once untouchable foundation of the international banking system, SWIFT, has now given up. However, this goes beyond a quiet retirement or a polite departure. Ripplenet, a blockchain-based payment network that was formerly viewed as an outsider in the conventional finance industry, is joining forces with this full-scale merger. It is now expected to become the new norm. The deal's focal point, a permanent burn of 40 billion XRP tokens from Ripple's escrow, is even more startling. It is intended to cause an instantaneous, permanent scarcity event, putting XRP on track for a base valuation of $10,000 per token. That represents over half of the asset's potential supply. This isn't online conjecture or rumors. A deal sheet that was leaked from the Ripple and Swift discussions has come to light. The deal's mechanics are also described in the letter, including the enormous XRP burn that insiders are describing as the biggest deflationary act in the history of digital assets. Let's discuss what Swift is, or was, to be more precise. More than 11,000 banks in 200 countries have long relied on Swift as their interbank messaging layer. But its function has always been restricted. It transports messages rather than cash. It is a glorified communication protocol that lacks real-time reconciliation, has antiquated infrastructure, and lengthy settlement times. Swift is no longer relevant in a world that today requires instantaneous, verifiable cross-border payments. Presenting Ripplenet, a real-time gross settlement system driven by blockchain technology that was created from the ground up for compliance, speed, and worldwide liquidity. Ripplenet transfers money in addition to messages. Additionally, it has been expanding covertly while establishing alliances with private sector companies, regional financial institutions, and central banks worldwide. Swift disregarded blockchain for years. But now that the financial industry was rapidly going digital and Ripplenet was establishing itself, Swift was left with no other option except to compete and lose or give up and combine. Why does Ripple have the upper hand? Demand, interoperability, and efficiency. Ripplenet provides a full-stack solution that includes minimal fees, lightning-fast settlement times, rails that are suitable for compliance, and, above all, native liquidity driven by XRP. What changed Ripplenet from a threat to a requirement was the liquidity component. Under mounting pressure from banking regulators and institutional partners, Swift's board came to the conclusion that the only way to stay relevant in the nascent digital economy was to merge with Ripplenet. It gets extremely fascinating when you look at the merger details, which were disclosed under the codename Project Phoenix. Ripple suggested burning 40 billion XRP from its escrow assets once to ease the transition and build network confidence. This was more than a ploy. It was a deliberate deflationary move intended to accomplish a number of strategic objectives, including lowering total supply, generating immediate scarcity, compensating current holders, and, above all, establishing price stability through enforced scarcity. In the words of a former mergers and acquisitions banker who supposedly had access to the talks, it's a textbook strategy. You need a value inflection moment in M&A transactions, particularly those that include shareholder migration. The burn serves as a tool for adjusting valuation. Swift's user base is being absorbed by Ripplenet. Hence, XRP's value must increase to sustain that liquidity. Well, a floor of $10,000 is prudent, not bullish. He's correct too. The reasoning is sound when the numbers are broken down. With about 100 billion XRP in circulation, burning 40 billion cuts the amount of available liquidity in half. A wave of transactional demand is simultaneously created by enrolling 11,000 banks. The classic recipe for a supply shock is the mismatch between a declining supply and a rapidly increasing demand. It is imposed by usefulness and infrastructure adoption rather than being reliant on hype. However, how does the burn really occur? Swift will purchase the XRP straight from Ripple's escrow under a long-term asset purchase arrangement per the leaked term sheet. After being obtained, the tokens will be transferred to a specified burn address, so eliminating them from the world forever. To ensure public trust, the transaction will be transparently disclosed, reviewed by third-party validators, and verified on-chain. Furthermore, Swift and Ripple have decided to employ a phased migration plan. Tier 1 institutions and central banks will be the first banks to be onboarded to Ripplenet during this time, followed by banks from the regional and private sectors. To align with adoption criteria, a portion of the 40 billion XRP will be burnt in tranches as each onboarding phase is finished. By doing this, the deflationary pressure is guaranteed to increase in proportion to network utilization. The term sheet also mentions the preparation of legal adjustments to provide regulatory protection for this activity. According to reports, Ripple has been coordinating with a number of countries, such as the UAE, Singapore, and the EU, to make sure that the merger and burn plan conforms with asset management and financial disclosure regulations. For its part, SWIFT is facilitating the process by utilizing its connections with international authorities. SWIFT's communications rails will be completely redesigned as part of the merger, replacing them with Ripple's on-demand liquidity, or ODL paradigm. Those outdated Nostro and Vostro accounts will no longer be necessary since XRP will act as the natural bridge asset between currencies. In addition to significantly lowering banks' capital needs, this genuinely boosts settlement efficiency by orders of magnitude. Let's now discuss the implications for holders of XRP. If you now own XRP, you might be sitting on an asset that is about to go through a permanent revaluation based on its future role in global banking rather than speculation. The $10,000 price floor is a mathematical outcome of utility-based scarcity, not merely a psychological standard. Each XRP token that remains after the burn will represent a significantly greater portion of a significantly more significant financial ecosystem. Many thanks for listening. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Additionally, to be the first to know when I post new stuff, make sure you enable the alerts. I can't wait to see you again in the next video. Be careful.